Mind, Body, and Soul, an A&D conversation. Hosts Annette Harris and Apostle Dion Hunt are ready to bring you some exciting new content. Get ready to talk, laugh, live, and love with conversations you can interact with, shows you can plan, and news you can use. Tune in every Tuesday and Thursday at www.intellectualradio.com. Connect with us on Facebook at Mind, Body, and Soul, an A&D conversation, on Instagram at Mind, Body, Soul AD, and via email at mindbodysoulad@gmail.com.
If you need wisdom for the mind and deep down in your soul, tune in for the ride. It's mind, body, and soul. An Andy conversation. An Andy conversation. An Andy conversation.
Great evening. Great evening. Welcome to another broadcast. Oh my God, we're in a new year.
Yes.
You're listening to Mind, Body, and Soul, an A&D conversation. And we are here. We are live. We are excited. It is a new year. 2019 has arrived.
It's here.
Apostle, I have not seen you since last year.
Oh, such a long time.
I tell you. How you been?
Wonderful.
Good.
Wonderful. Glad to be in the land of the living.
Yes, definitely. I hear some people say the land of the dying, but that's another story. I'm glad to be here, though. And we're here at Intellectual Radio, and it's time for another broadcast. We are in our new season here. If I can say it like that. I know we started at the end of last year, but we're in a new season here. We're just so excited. And there are a couple of different ways you can listen to us on tonight. Of course, we have a Facebook Live feed going, and you should be able to catch us because we're sharing it in various places. Apostle Hunt put up a live feed. You can go to our Mind, Body, and Soul A&D conversation page, and then also we've shared it to our own personal pages and a few other groups that we are in. And then also we're on YouTube right now. We are on the station's website, IntellectualRadio.com. Now, when you go to YouTube, you can type in Intellectual Radio, and then you will find us live there. And we are so glad that you've decided to join us on tonight. And if you can see, we are going to entertain a very, very wonderful topic on this evening.
Oh, my goodness.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for the revolution? Now, let me start.
It's about to be something.
It's about to be something
going on in there.
A little something going on tonight. And, you know what? Before we even get into the topic, now we're going to do our current events. But let's see. Should I ask this question now? Okay, I'll ask it now. I want those of you that are listening to us, and I'll kind of ask it throughout. I want, when we get to our topic, and you should be able to see what the topic title is when you're looking at the feed. But when we get into our topic on tonight, I want to ask each of you, who do you think selected tonight's topic? We're not going to tell you who did it. We're not going to tell you who did it. I want you all to answer that question like throughout. Okay. So then when we get into the discussion of the topic, and then they're gonna be like, they may be confused. They may be confused as to who selected this topic between Apostle and myself. Okay. All right. So keep that in mind. And let's see here. You know what? How you doing? You doing okay?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic, as a matter of fact.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be, again, like I said, in the land of the living. But 2019, I'm a goal setter.
I love that.
I have set some goals for 2019. And as of the third day of the year, I'm on course.
Hey, now.
So we're gonna
3 days in.
Yeah, 3 days
we
in.
Can do this.
Yeah, we got it.
What's it, 362 days left? We can do this. We can do this.
Yeah.
All right, you guys are coming in on Facebook, and I'm just going to do a quick romper room shout out to you guys. Joe McCord, Brandy, thanks for watching. I see a girl named Annette, known as Annette, on here. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see.
Who is that?
Who is that? Monique, thanks for watching. Demetrius Hunt, I see you. Dr. Hill, thanks for watching.
Wonderful.
I believe she's out of town, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. And we want you guys to make sure that you get ready to join us in on this topic tonight, because it is going to be.
It's going to be something. And you know what? I hope I've been praying, that the men don't leave me hanging. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let's say that now. Let's say that now.
Don't
leave him hanging. Please.
Don't leave me hanging.
Because I know my girls got my back.
That's obvious, But don't leave me hanging on this topic.
Don't
please.
leave him hanging. Please don't do that. He's a very nice young man, and we don't want to leave him hanging on tonight.
Keyword young.
Yeah, grab it. All right, so let's see here. Let's go into our current events. We'll just do a little bit of it because I'm so anxious about this topic. All right, so let's see here. Thank you, Michelle Thomas, for our current events. Unfortunate, of course, it seems like we start off with unfortunate news, but I just heard about this in Harvey. There was a shooting in Harvey, Illinois, the south suburb.
Yes.
Did you hear about that? It was a teenager. She was wounded. She was actually pregnant. They said 2 months pregnant. And she and her boyfriend were walking into a house. And then this guy came up, shot both of them, killed the guy, critically wounded her. And this just happened yesterday.
And the girl was, again, you said she was pregnant.
Yes.
18 years old.
18.
The young man was 20, I believe.
Yes.
But from what I hear is that he had gotten into an altercation
with the gunman.
Yes.
Yeah, I just heard that last part on my way here tonight about because first they were wondering what the motive was, but yeah, that's some crazy stuff. Something about a stolen car or something. But I'm telling y'all, we got to grab grab our young people. We need to do whatever we can to help steer them in the right direction, because I'm telling you, it's no joke out here.
I remember being that age and everything being over dramatized. You know what I mean? So every little thing was made into a big thing. And for some strange reason, when we're around that age, we major in minor things and minor in major things.
True.
And I'm sure whatever it was, it definitely wasn't worth someone losing their life. And so, we really have to teach this generation how to process things. And how to mature in a mature way.
Thank you. How to handle stuff. I mean, because you're gonna have conflict.
Absolutely.
Come on, welcome to the world.
Real world. Absolutely.
You're gonna have conflict. You're not gonna agree with everybody on everything. It is not, for me. Okay, we disagree. So I'm going home. I'm gonna get a gun. I'm gonna shoot you. What?
Right. And that's the extreme. But even the whole nuance of I'm experiencing something at 21 years old. And for some reason, I can't see beyond that thing that I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
And so when you look at stuff like that, then you tend to react in extremes,
right.
And the same thing that I thought was so horrible that may have meant the end of the world to me as a 20-year-old. Guess what? I'm 45,
right?
And I'm still here.
You're still
you know
here.
What I mean? So it's just about how we process things and how we, respond to things in a mature way.
I like that.
And my heart, goes out to that family, because now, that they've been altered for forever.
Forever. Yeah. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. And that's why you're a mentor, right? You can help these people. We bid you Godspeed in doing that. Let's see here. Chicago Public Schools teacher charged with sex abuse.
What?
Months after the sexual abuse scandal that rocked Chicago Public Schools, one of its teachers has been accused of groping students. You think?
Groping students?
Groping.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, no, I'm not kidding.
Lord have
It said
mercy.
the investigator said 4 young girls came forward to report the abuse, telling authorities that the teacher touched them inappropriately. So when did they come forth? Okay, let me read on. Police said one of the victims was a 15-year-old student who was helping 55-year-old Julio Mora while performing community service. Oh, hours. Okay. He's a CPS math teacher at Cardenas Elementary, and he has been charged with 4 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse. They said he inappropriately touched and fondled 4 girls, all under the age of 18. According to court documents, at least one of the allegations took place on school property. Wow. CPS says protecting students is our highest priority, and the district took immediate action this fall to remove Mora from his position after learning of an abuse allegation. All right. Well, I mean, good. I'm glad they did that.
Wow.
You send your children to school for an education. You don't expect,
Well, even while, because didn't it say they were doing community service?
Right.
He's still a teacher.
He's still a teacher.
And so you just
supposedly a responsible adult.
Right. You expect more.
Yeah.
More than that.
You have something?
Yeah. Check this out. Ireland just criminalized emotional abuse with new domestic violence laws. So it says psychological and emotional abuse is in intimate relationships is now a crime in Ireland. The Domestic Violence Act of 2018 went into effect on Tuesday and provides new protections for victims of coercive control, a type of emotional and psychological abuse aimed at stripping a person of their self-worth and agency. Although psychological and emotional abuse, including controlling behavior, isolation, and threats of violence, can be more difficult to recognize than physical violence, it can be just as damaging, experts say. What do you think about that?
Wow.
It's there's a lot of gray area with that. And it's usually it depends on who's experiencing it. And who's looking at it, but I think that it's definitely something to look at. That emotional abuse sometimes extends far more.
It's worse sometimes.
Longer than physical abuse.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think because that thing's going to recur.
It's a scar. It's damage to the mind.
I even talk with someone who was going through, they know someone that was going through in their marriage or whatever, and it's like it's a constant battle in their mind of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Some things that happen, and they're trying to get over it, trying to get beyond it, but it's like it constantly comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that that emotional abuse. I mean, it's deep.
Yeah.
It's not something that can be taken lightly,
right?
Or dismissed and thinking that emotional, that means nothing, but it means a whole lot.
Nonviolent control. I mean, just hearing that term, nonviolent control. It's a very real thing. I mean, some of us we know about being in relationships with one person manipulating the other and making them feel as if they have to abide by certain demands and certain things that are not really beneficial to them.
Right.
And so it's a very real thing. And being a pastor and just looking at what I've had to counsel, it's not gender specific. The bulk of it, I would say, of it being reported or admitted to, females are the victims.
Yes.
But part of that though is due to the whole mindset of a man. Does a man really want to say she hurt my feelings?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of, little intangibles there, but it's definitely a real issue.
Yeah, for sure.
But now it's a criminal offense.
And I mean, it's a fine line there, but I can kind of understand.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that? You have any thoughts on it being a criminal? Some people might say, they went to the extreme, but you can tell us your thoughts on that as well. as we're going through this. Pastor CC, I see you on. Thanks for watching. Rolanda, Melissa, Tamira, and Robert. How are you, my friend? Thanks for joining again. Let's see. Brandy says, wow, criminalizing emotional abuse opens up a whole new can of worms. She had interpretive in parentheses there. Yeah, it does.
It does.
Okay, I'm not going to touch that anymore. I'm gonna leave it alone.
That might be a show. We might need to deal with that.
You might have something there.
That's kind of murky, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of different opinions about that. But psychological abuse, let's just be out front with that. That is real.
It's very real.
It's very real.
Yeah.
With lasting effects.
Yes, definitely. Well, let's see here. What else can we look at real quick? Police seek to ID 2 in connection with robbery of taxi driver in Kenwood. Okay. More bad news. There was a robbery in the 4700 block of South Ingleside, and the driver told police he picked the two people at State and Roosevelt. You know, this unfortunately brings back memories. My dad used to be a taxi cab driver in Chicago.
Okay.
So I guess they robbed this taxi driver. Yeah. And I remember stories of him, and I would get so worried about him when he was out there driving. This was, way back or whatever. There was a few incidents. I even remember one where he took this guy, and the guy robbed him once he got him to his destination and tried to beat the pulp out of him. My dad had a knot upside this, side of his head. Wow. And I mean, it was at that point I was like, okay, you need to get some protection in here. And so then he really started trying to readjust where he would pick up and where he would drop off.
Absolutely.
And and sometimes that's the cabbie's mentality now. Now with this ride share, it might seem like it's a whole different arena, but we got to be careful out there as well. But yeah, that's what that reminded me of, and I think it's so crazy because, unfortunately, the picture that I saw of the individuals that robbed him, of course, were Black. You see?
Okay.
That makes me sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes me angry too, because it's like,
well, then we're angry about the whole what do you call it? I don't want to pick up Black.
Yeah, exactly.
Profiling.
Exactly. Profiling. That's exactly what it is. And they don't want to go in certain areas. And,
right.
That's why, going back to the rideshare, that they're so popular now, the rideshare companies, because they will go in the areas that the cabbies won't go in because, that's how it's set up. But of course, it's at least with the rideshare and everything is tracked, so they can kind of know where you're going and this, that, and the other. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's see here. Monique says, wondering how much time can you get? What was that in response to?
That was in response to the domestic,
okay.
The
the mental abuse. Yeah, that's a great question, because it didn't go into that, did it?
No, I didn't see where it went into that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't know.
That's very interesting, and that was in Ireland. So in America, there'd be a lot of folk locked up. You know what I mean?
I don't know if well, let me stop. I was getting ready to say not too many people be out on the street. Because that emotional abuse.
Yeah.
That's real. That is very real. Make sure there's nothing else on here that is question. You guys are popping in here. Thank you so much, Tradana. I see you, Claudia, Simeon. I know they want to get to the topic.
They want to get to this topic.
You do. You really do. Granny D, how are you, cousin? Thanks for watching. Debbie McLeod, Gail Alexander. Hi, my big sister. Thanks for watching. Glennis is on. Thanks for watching. Deborah, Auntie Deborah. Christine, thanks for watching. Jamila, glad to have you. J Spot. Is that right? Okay. Ida Gill, thanks for watching. So we are, there are a lot more current events that we have here, but I am going to actually do this. Rosalind, thank you for watching as well. We're going to actually take a quick break, kind of get your juices to flowing, because we want to talk tonight about how, oh, okay, there's a question. How do you prove emotional abuse? And how many false cases will we see reported by disgruntled people?
That's my point exactly, Brandy.
Yeah.
That's my point exactly.
I would want to know that as well. Because somebody's going to take advantage of that and they're going to really take it out the window. Yeah. All right. So back to what I was saying. We're going to take a break because we want to get into tonight's topic. And I know that's what a lot of you are watching in, because I want to hear from you guys on tonight. We're going to open up the phone line, 708-223-8953. Again, 708-223-8953. We're going to be talking tonight, asking our Black women, African-American women, however you want to say it, do you feel protected by your Black men?
My God.
That is a hot topic, hot discussion. And hopefully you'll be okay.
I'm okay. I can't wait.
You can't wait?
I can't wait.
Okay. All right. So, ladies, I know y'all got my back, so make sure y'all call in tonight, okay? Gentlemen, don't leave him out. And the question on the floor was, who do you think selected this topic as we go into talking about this discussion on tonight? So we're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back for more of Mind, Body, and Soul and A&D Conversation.
The Lord is here. Oh, how refreshing. Can anybody feel them? The Lord is here. It's so refreshing. The Lord is here. Oh, how refreshing. Ooh. Times of refreshing. Times of refreshing. Times of refreshing. They come from the Lord. The Lord is here. Oh, how refreshing. I know somebody ought to be able to feel it. The Lord is here. It's so refreshing. The Lord is here. Oh, how refreshing. Ooh. He has my peace. And he has all of my joy. And times of refreshing, they come from the Lord. The Lord is here. The Lord is here. Oh, how refreshing. Thank God for Jesus. The Lord is here right now. The Lord is here. It's so refreshing. The Lord is here right now. The Lord is here. Oh, how refreshing. I'm refreshing. I'm so refreshing. I'm so refreshing. I'm so refreshing. I'm so refreshing. Oh, they come. They come from the Lord. The Lord is here. Just reach out and touch him. Oh, how refreshing. Can anybody feel him in this room? The Lord is here. He's had a blessing for you. It's so refreshing.
Welcome back. Mind, Body, and Soul and A&D Conversation. We're here live at Intellectual Radio. And you can go to the website to listen to us, IntellectualRadio.com. We do have our Facebook Live feed going, and I appreciate you guys coming in on this evening. You can see it on our personal pages, on our show page, Mind, Body, and Soul A&D Conversation. And then we're also on YouTube. When you go to YouTube, go ahead and type in Intellectual Radio and you will see us live there. So in case one avenue goes down for you, hop on over to the other one. We don't want you to miss anything on this evening. So we are talking this evening. We want to get into our hot topic on tonight. Black women, do you feel protected by Black men? That is the topic of conversation that we're going to go into. Now, let me tell you this. We got a few things we want to say.
Okay.
We're not male bashing.
Thank you very much.
There's no male bashing. No, any show that I do, you would not find male bashing on
Thank you.
Where Annette is concerned. Okay?
I appreciate that.
All right. Now, we will state truths. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you know what?
We will state truths.
We want to know how you feel.
Yes.
You know, don't be disturbed by the disclaimer about not bashing men. We still want to know how you feel.
Yes.
And have a really good conversation about this.
It definitely. Now, some people may have experienced some things or whatever, but I mean, we trust that you know how to express yourself in an intelligent manner. So we say that in advance. Now, I will say this. I think you were tested a little bit this evening on the prior to the show, weren't you?
Was I tested?
I believe you were.
When was I tested?
You were tested before the show, about 15, 20 minutes before the show started.
I'm sure. Yeah, I was tested a little bit.
Do you want to share what you were tested?
You know
with?
what? Before we get into this topic, she called me and tried to play like she was sick. And I, immediately my mind went to, okay, I'm gonna have to tackle this topic by myself. But I was up for it. I was gonna be upset with her, but I was up for it.
I said, "Hello, Apostle," and immediately he started laughing. And I said, "What's wrong? Why are you laughing?" I'm trying to talk like I'm sick. And he was like, "I was like, do you think you could do the show without me?" And he was like, "Yeah, I can." And I said, "Okay." And I played it a little bit more. And then I said,
I was like, "No, you healed in Jesus' name." You healed in Jesus' name.
I could have been at home calling you, telling you that.
Hey, you healed in Jesus' name. Look
but
at you.
But you know what
Healthy
I thought
and
about.
here.
But you know what I thought about. I'm not sick, and I'm not sick. I did that. I was just being like really goofy.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought about something when I hung up. I said, he had my back.
Yeah.
He had my back. And look at the conversation we're gonna have tonight.
I'm gonna have your back.
He was gonna carry on the show without me. So I just want to throw that in. Yeah.
Look what Brandy said. You
she
bogus.
Said I'm bogus.
That's how I was feeling, Brandy.
Oh my God, that was too funny. Too funny.
But you know what?
I was crying laughing.
This topic is really relevant. Did you see on and it's been all over social media, the young lady that was attacked by a customer
at McDonald's?
At McDonald's.
Yeah.
That angered me.
Did it?
Tell
me why.
God. It angered me. First of all, he was a grown man and she's a girl. And then, the fact that he felt like he could, he basically, whatever she was telling him wasn't satisfactory. And he snatched her up by her collar. Now he's a customer. She's working behind the counter. He reaches up across the counter and snatches her up by her collar and was pulling her across the counter against her will.
Wow.
And when I say that, I could barely watch it. I felt like my temperature was rising when I was watching that video.
Yeah.
And the fact that he did that first angered me. And then as I continue to watch it, I see nobody is intervening. She is basically defending herself
by herself
amongst all of her coworkers, some of which were male. And it really angered me.
Yeah.
Now she was tattooing them up. They say she has a boxing background,
right?
But even beyond that, it just angered me that this man in the midst of and amongst other men felt comfortable grabbing this girl up by her collar.
Yeah.
and being that forceful and aggressive with her. And so I said, wow. And so at its core, in just in black and white terms, we can get into all the other terms connected to, how someone feels, if they feel protected. What does that mean to you? But just in black and white terms, physical protection. Do you feel safe? Do you feel protected by and amongst black men? Is that something that you feel?
Okay. And they're saying on here they're glad you brought up the situation with the girl at McDonald's, because I'm looking at it again as you're talking, and yeah, now the only thing that I saw that was, well, I saw one black guy try to pull her, he was behind her trying to get her away, from the guy.
Can I?
Talk
to
me.
me, that is not, and he did something, but is that enough?
No.
That's not enough. You know what I mean? To me, that's not enough. And don't get me wrong, I'm not someone who is a proponent of violence.
Right.
But there are certain things that even as a man of God that I am not, and I don't say this proudly, but I feel like it needs to be said and noted. I'm not delivered from everything. There's certain things. No, you can.
I like that.
You can say certain things and do certain things to me that I will not allow you to do to my wife or my daughter or my sister. You know what I mean? Or my mother.
I love that.
I have a higher tolerance for things that are perpetrated against me than against the women in my life. And anytime that a man who has any kind of predatory instincts or motives or agendas, I would say that way, against women in your life, anytime any male that has any kind of predatory motives against the women, around the women in your life, you need to let it be made known that these women are untouchable. But I'll go even a step beyond that. No woman in the presence of a real man should ever feel unprotected.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and I'm asking you all as well. Please make sure you call in 708-223-8953. Again, 708-223-8953. We want to hear from you guys on tonight and hear your thoughts as we're having this conversation. That's what A&D is all about. We're just having a conversation, and this is our topic of discussion tonight. Black women, do you feel protected by your black men? Now, you mentioned, and when you start talking about the McDonald's incident, and you talked about she really, you didn't really feel that she was protected. And I said, I saw the guy, trying to pull her back. That was the only thing I really saw of anybody trying to do anything to help her. You said that wasn't enough. What do you think? And I know you said you haven't been delivered from everything. Put yourself in that situation. What exactly do you think that you would have done? I'm
not saying that what I would have done would have been kosher or right. But I ought to put my hands on that man.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. I was at Walmart. This was about 7 or 8 years ago. I was at a Walmart, and there were two sisters in front of me in the checkout line that were checking out, and there was a man in front of them. Now, these are two black women, but they were sisters. Checking out, and there was another black man. So that's we're going to talk about that too. There's another black man in front of them, and as he's checking out, one of the sisters taps him on the shoulder and says, "Aren't you the man that stuck me up last summer?" She recognized him. And immediately I got nervous because I felt like, okay, I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to do something because I see a conflict, and it's about to be these two women against this man. When she said that, one of the sisters left and just vanished. I'm like, where did she go? So it's like me and this woman and this man. So I'm watching him closely because he's bigger than me, which means he's also bigger than her. I'm watching him closely. And by the time the other sister came back, the sister that was confronting him went in her purse, had gone in her purse and pulled out mace. She maced him, and the other sister came across and hit him in the face with a mop handle. Now I'm standing back watching them fight, but in the midst of this, my initial reaction was like, okay, am I going to have to defend these women against this man? That was in the forefront of. Now it turned out that I had to pull them off of him.
Wow.
But my initial feeling and reaction, I was literally rearranging my belongings so that if I needed to protect these women, I would have been ready.
Okay.
And so I think that's the mindset that we ought to have as men. No woman should feel unprotected in the presence of another man.
That's good stuff right there. We have a call on the line, A&D Conversation. Wonderful. How about you?
Wonderful. I'm going to be brief because I'm really passionate about this one. I'm one of the people, I watched that video too, and I watched it more times than I should have because I had a whole lot of questions. This is my issue. Apostle Dion hit the nail on the head. A man, a real man, first reaction at seeing that a woman is about to be attacked or is being attacked, his instinct should make him go into protection mode. What I saw when I watched that video, after I got through being mad about the guy snatching her up, I was angry at the simple fact at the men, her brothers standing behind, and how long a period of time passed before they stepped in. And then when they finally did sheepishly slither over to try to do something, they grabbed her.
Yeah.
This man has grabbed this 17-year-old girl and pulled her across the counter to do what we don't know, because she lit him up. She protected herself in the midst of what was going on. But what incensed me is that these young black men who sat up here and watched the whole altercation, number one. But then at the end, when she started defending herself and lighting him up, then they came and grabbed her. Where is your mentality? That's a mentality issue. They shouldn't have even been able to think at that point. Their instincts should have had them surrounding her when he got in her face. I'm comparing that to another video that's hot, and I actually just posted it on my page. It's older than this one, but it was supposed to be a joke or whatever. But this young lady or man pretending to be a young lady came up to the counter at a KFC, and he went to check one of the employees to let her know, okay, my man told me you gave him his number. I just came to check you. Well, look at the sisters. Now, this was an all-sister crew that they had. Her manager, her female manager, was a sister. She immediately stepped over and said, look, you ain't coming to check nobody. We don't do that here. You want to order some chicken? Order the chicken or get out. And the guy is like, or guy, female, whatever it was. She was like, wait a minute, I just came. She said, I don't care what you came for. I don't care nothing about your boyfriend. I don't care nothing about you. We don't do that in here. And then you see the other sisters coming from behind the fry, the little fry thing or whatever. They came and started grouping around. Like one girl took off her headset. She's like, oh, you want to go? Let's go. Those are women protecting their, the checkout girl who was being accosted didn't have to do anything. She didn't even open her mouth. Because at that point, her managers came in and said, no, that's not going to happen here. And I'm angry because that's not what happened there. I'm not going to mention the fact the Asian manager who came in after it was all done. I'm not even going to mention him because that's a whole different story. But I do expect my brothers to stick up for their sisters, and I expect that to be instinctive.
Yeah,
it ought to be, and we use the word instinctive, but what we really mean is it needs to be taught. It's got to be taught.
That's it right there, and that's some of what I want to get into when I give my response.
It has to be taught.
Yes.
I was looking at something And thank you for calling in, Brandy.
Yes, we appreciate you.
Thank you. Great show, guys.
Okay.
I was looking at something in that every woman is a daughter.
Yes.
Every woman is a daughter first. And do you know the Hebrew word for daughter is bath, B-A-T-H, which means get this, it means the apple of the eye. The apple of the eye. And do you know that even in the natural, the eye is one of the most protected parts of the body. The apple or the pupil of the eye.
Yes, it is
the most, because anything that gets close to your eye, instinctively you blink. Your eyes close, your eyelids shut to protect that pupil or that eye. It's instinctive. You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah,
it just
something's
happens.
coming close, you automatically. Yeah.
And so what do you say? The Hebrews, they looked at this and said, oh, that's how we ought to treat our daughters. That anything that comes close to them that is meant to harm them, something has to happen where they are protected off the bat. It should not even be thought about. It should be a response that any harm that comes their way, they are protected. And that's something that has to be taught, because we got to deprogram half of our young men. We have to deprogram them from perpetuating the violence.
Yes.
So we can't even really effectively get a handle on this until we stop perpetuating violence against women ourselves. You know what I mean? And so it's that whole story. I grew up and my parents used to teach me, okay, don't you ever, I can't ever remember or recall laying a hand on my sisters. I got two younger sisters. I have an older sister. I can't ever remember passing one lick at my sisters.
That's beautiful.
You know what I mean? Because it was drilled in me that there's no way that you can be their protector if you're their abuser at the same time.
Now, you learned that through your parents?
Yes.
Great. And that's a great point you're bringing up, because it's going to they're going to have to be instructed. They're going to have to be taught. So we're going to have to take this back to, we can't just say, oh no, yeah, we don't feel protected. But where does that come from?
Where does it come from?
Where does them not protecting us come from? I actually had a passenger in my car today, young man. And I said, you know what? Can I ask you a question? And he said, what is it? And I said, I have a radio show.
Okay.
I'm doing a show tonight. Told him the topic. And I said, tell me your thoughts. Do you think that you all, because we're asking the women, of course. But I said, let me turn this around. Do you think that you all protect us? You know what his immediate response was? No.
See.
He said, now I understand that I can't lump everybody in together. And so I'm not talking about every man. Mm-hmm. He said, but on a whole, in general, he said, no, the men, they don't really protect. The black men really don't protect the black women. Now he gave his own little version of what he does. He has a girlfriend or whatever, and she's actually expecting. And he said, but I do everything for her. I make sure she's set, she's good. He said, I even moved her in with me, and everything. And he even pays his mom's rent and this, that, and the other. I said, so you handle taking care of your mom too? He said, yeah. He said, I'm the youngest of all my siblings. And, so he's just talking about all the stuff that he does. He said, but on the whole, no, we do not protect our black women. He said, we're so busy concentrating on getting stuff for ourselves. He said, it's us that we're concerned about. It's us that we're protecting. And to hear, he's only 18, 19 years old, hear him say that.
Even when you look at even when you look at us naturally and physically, and there are grown folks on this is intellectual conversation. There's grown folks watching this, right?
Yes.
So even physically, if you look at the anatomy of a man versus the anatomy of a woman, men, we're the givers and women are the receivers.
Exactly.
And so God doesn't do anything by chance. That's how he designed it. And somewhere along the line, we have flipped that dynamic. And women have become figuratively the giver and the man the receiver.
Yes.
And it has caused a breakdown in so many other areas of relationship because that first dynamic is not true. The woman is providing, the woman is doing this, the woman is doing that, and the man is not carrying the load that he should. And so I'm looking at when I think of a topic like this, I'm looking at so many things that add into wearing away at the mindset of, do I protect my sisters? If I'm referring to Black women in a derogatory
Come
sense,
on, say it. I mean, don't say that, but I know what you're saying.
I feel like saying it. Just
right.
B's and H's.
Right,
and,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Just all those derogatory terms that we use, it wears away because what it does is it desensitizes us toward the value of the woman, of the Black woman.
Yes.
And the moment that I become desensitized to their value, then all these other things start weighing in the balance, and I don't feel the unction to guard her with my life. You know what I mean? You know, the Bible says that we ought to love our wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. And so you can't say you're giving yourself for the sisters if you're sitting back allowing them to be downtrodden and worn down by an abuser or life itself, and you don't step in.
Yes, life itself. Oh my goodness. There is so much. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is what we're going to do. If you're just not joining us, this is My Body and Soul A&D conversation, and we're talking about Black women. Do you feel protected by Black men? Now, I am encouraging you all, and I did see some on here that tried to call in, but there was another call that was on. You can try back. 708-223-8953. Again, 708-223-8953, because we want to hear from you on tonight. Now, let me hop over to Facebook Live because some of them may be putting their comments here as opposed to calling in. Let's see. The McDonald's incident, Rolanda said, was a prime example of us being unprotected. Okay, let's move past it. I think some of them were talking about that. George Hunt says, of course, we Black men cannot protect all Black women, but speaking from my circle of friends, we will and have always protected our women. When I saw that Apostle, like you, I wasn't angered. I was beyond that. But here's my deal. Not just being protected by a Black man, but that manager. Can our Black women be protected by white managers? Because that so-called manager had more concern for her attacker than her.
Can I say something to that?
You can.
You know what? And he made a point that me as a Black man, I cannot protect all Black women.
Right.
But what I can do and what we can do, those of us with this mentality, is we could what if we sparked a movement? I saw when I saw this topic, it was in a meme on Facebook, on social media. And a friend of mine, who I call my sister, hopefully she'll call in, she posted it, and there were so many comments. And one of the persons on that thread said, what if the Black men sparked a movement? What if there was a movement that says, just like Black Lives Matter, Black women matter, we protect our women? You know what I mean? And if that was something that was made known, you know, the Italians do it, the Hispanics, Mexicans do it. What if we as Black men made that a movement, that it was known and understood that this is something that we do It's embedded in our culture that you are not going to perpetrate any kind of violence against a mother, a sister, a cousin, a friend, a daughter of ours, and we not do something about it.
Deep. That's very deep.
And again, please don't get caught up on the fact that I'm a pastor. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Don't. I'm a man first.
You're a man first.
I'm a man first. And don't get me wrong. The fact that I'm a pastor, some people will try me in that area. You know what I mean? And
see what your reaction's going to be.
There have been times where I had to step in on behalf of Pastor Cece. I remember we had just gotten married, and she was doing something that I didn't like for her to do. After service, we get out. It's dark 30 when we get out.
Right, dark 30.
It's dark 30 when we get out of church.
Darker clock.
Darker clock, And so she was outside sitting in the car by her, and I didn't like that, but she was ready to go. And some young gentlemen came up, a group of gentlemen came up, and I'm calling them gentlemen. I'm using that term loosely.
Lightly.
And they were, from what I could see, harassing her because I could see the look on her face. I saw, because when I came out to check on her, I saw the look on her face, and I immediately, I smelled the stench of marijuana and alcohol. So I assumed that they were high and drunk. I immediately stepped in and I said, excuse me, young man, you trying to get saved tonight? No, I ain't trying to get saved. I said, well, keep it stepping then.
Okay.
If you in front of this church, if you ain't trying to come in and give your life to God, keep it stepping. That's my wife.
Love it.
And so that was instinctive.
Right.
And all it took was for them to see that this was not a free for all.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And sometimes that's all it takes.
And you set a precedence.
What's
when
that?
When you approached him,
exactly,
you set a precedence.
Exactly. So they knew not to do it.
Exactly. Michelle Thomas says here, but some women like being called those names and even call themselves that.
Then that's generational. That's a problem with this generation.
Because that comes from somewhere. Now, some of them, she's right, but some of them unfortunately have this demented perception, thinking, okay, he commented, the one I really like, or you get these, because a lot of rappers and different artists or whatever use that in their music, and so they think it's cool. They think it's okay, and so they're I don't know the name of some of these rappers, but whatever. I was about to call the names, but old name.
Don't.
But
make
anyway,
up a name.
I won't do it. I'm gonna really show my age. But he says that to he calls all the women that in his songs, and so they think it's okay, and they will get to calling themselves that in others as well.
But it's become so accepted that it's not just in rap or hip hop.
Right. It's just in daily conversation.
It's in some R&B songs. It's in some big name comics. You know what I mean? Every other word. And when they refer, listen to certain comedy acts. When they refer to women, they use derogatory comments. And I wonder, why do you have to do that? Because again,
ignorance.
You're desensitizing us toward that word, and then what it causes you to do is let your guard down. Let your guard down.
Indeed.
And so it's really sad.
Definitely. Lisa Madden says here, society does not value the Black woman. It's evident on this rap music, so it becomes a natural phenomenon not to protect and to even hurt us. I've seen videos of Black men beating women, punching and kicking women, and it's glorified. It's the norm. Yeah, so that goes, back to what you said. She also says here she teaches her boys that they better protect her, their sister, and their aunts with their life, period. I love that, Lisa. Yeah, you have to instruct them. I thank God, I'm gonna say this, and I know we have a call on the line, for my late brother. I'm telling you, he showed me, because my parents were divorced, but my brother showed me how a man should treat a woman, how a man should protect a woman.
Okay.
And I'll never forget, all the things that he would do. I mean, that's like embedded in my mind now. So it's like, after my brother passed or whatever, me, dating or getting married, something, you had to come right, because I knew how I was supposed to be treated.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. And I thank God, he had, teachers and, my uncles and different things, around him that would show him. And that's how, he basically showed us how we should be treated. I have a call on the line. A&D Conversation.
Hi, this is Michelle.
Hi, how are you, Michelle?
Hi, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing
Wonderful.
Well. I just called in to put in my 2 cents, as I talked to you earlier about this. And I have this heated feeling in like the center of my chest. And my heart is like palpitating because this subject angers me. And I'm so angered by it because I feel that we as women should feel protected, not only by our Black men, but by any man. But the fact that I don't feel safe walking down the street with my own race is a problem. And that's, if I'm going to be honest, that's who I'm more fearful of. And I feel that who should protect me more. But I don't know if it's because, they're not raised that way, or maybe something happened to them in their childhood to make them, feel like that it's okay to hit a woman, to cuss a woman, to do whatever to disrespect her and not protect her is an issue with me.
Yeah.
And for me. And I would like to see that change. I love the idea of, a movement amongst our brothers. You see cultures like Muslims coming together to ban against, whoever these people are that's running the beauty supply stores. I don't know if they're Vietnamese, Asian, Chinese, whatever. But there was a video going around where, this couple attacked a lady, and the whole Muslim, it took a Muslim to get, that community to get together and come in and say, you're not going to do this. But we need more than just one religious community to come together. We need everybody to grasp that movement. And I think if enough people did it, if enough men got together and the movement was started, everybody else would be too fearful to come against us in any type of derogatory or disrespectful manner, knowing that our brothers are going to come to our defense. But it's going to start with them first and not disrespecting us in that manner.
Right. Absolutely.
Good stuff.
I want to throw this in there. Thank you for calling in, because that is everything you said was so on point. Everything. But what do we think the seed? Everything starts with a seed. What do you think the seed of this was planted, where certain behaviors and attitudes against our women became acceptable and okay? You can go as far back, and I'm not saying this to make it okay or to validate anything or water anything down, but it's a fact that you can go back to slavery and how certain things that were perpetrated against the Black family, they would do certain things like buck breaking, where they would get the man of the house and they would rape the man of the house, dehumanize him, just, and then from then they would dismantle the family. So they would take the wife, they would take the mother, and give her out to satisfy company, if you will. And the fear of a retaliation to that would mean that they would wipe out the whole family. You know what I mean? And so certain seeds were planted years ago that kind of broke down the structure that we had psychologically concerning the family. And I'm not saying that because, I'm not saying that we should lean on that, definitely, but could that be a factor? Could it be a factor? Because when you talk about protection, are we just talking about physical protection? Because some women don't feel protected if you ain't helping them take care of the household. If you're not helping them take care of the children, and that's a valid feeling. So could the seed of that be when, systematic welfare said that a man could not live in the household,
or they wouldn't get the money,
or
right.
or else the woman or the mother would not be taken care of by the state. And so where does this stuff come from?
I mean, all of that definitely comes into play. I mean, and you're saying some great stuff. And then as you were talking, I'm thinking about, I don't know what movie it was, where it might have been 12 Years as a Slave, I think, where the woman, you had the slave family or whatever, and she was in the field, doing what she was supposed to do. And then the white slave owner would come and he would take her and take her in the house and rape her. Now, the man, he knew what was happening. I think he wanted to try and do something, but then if he did, they were gonna, kill him. And I remember one time the white slave owner was like, yeah, you try it, and he would just take his wife and just have his way with her. And so that's deteriorating his position, in the home. And so I believe it was 12 Years a Slave, because I think the child looked at the dad like, really, you're not going to do anything, and that left an impression on the child.
Right.
So all of that is a factor. And you talk about the men being raped, all of that, that's a tearing down of really what God instituted, because God instituted the home. He instituted the marriage. He instituted, the man as being the head.
It's stripping him mentally. It's not just him, but the family mentally is being stripped. They are and who we're supposed to be, because you got to understand where we come from. We have not only a family mentality, but a tribal mentality, which means that if you step into this town, this city, anybody that's a part of this tribe, you can get checked by anybody here by coming against one of our own. And so I think that was broken down in us hundreds of years ago.
And I think
and it's so underneath the surface that we don't know how to dig down deep and really uproot that seed that was planted in us. And we can stand up and protect our own like we should.
Yeah. You guys are coming in here, and I must acknowledge a lot of these comments here. John Purnell, thank you for watching. We appreciate you. You can chime in if you will. Earl Winfrey has a question. This is my super producer here. He says, I agree, but how would you feel if your son attacked that white dude and the police had come in and shot your son? Woo-hoo. He says, I agree, Black men should protect the women, but then we're kids. I think he may have missed the word here. And I'm happy everyone was able to go home. Oh, but they were kids, he's saying. And he was happy everyone was able to go home. Cops nowadays shoot Black men first, ask question later. That is an excellent question. Oh my God. That is so accurate. And that is probably, if you would probably go and interview some of those young men, even the one that tried to pull her back, we're talking about the McDonald's incident, what their thoughts were.
But isn't that the buck breaking?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Isn't that the same mentality, the same tactic? If you respond, we're going to respond to the extreme.
Exactly.
And as long as you think that, all you got to do is think that. then now your response is tempered.
Right, because they're going to come in, they're going to see what you did to defend her. They're going to see what you did to protect her. They're not going to even see or realize that the white man literally pulled her first and started it. They're not going to see that. They're going to see,
or they're not going to consider that.
No, exactly. They're going to see that if that brother, the one that pulled her back, if he had went over there and stole on a man, that's what they're going to see. And they're going to say, okay, you attacked this customer.
I want the women, if you can call in and answer this for me. What constitutes how far should the man go in protecting you? I heard somebody say to the death. You know what I mean? But let's really look at this, because it's got to be case by case. To what level? What is an acceptable response to that? I was watching a movie. You remember the movie Crash? And I forget the guy's name. He's in so many movies. Lord help me. The light-skinned guy. He's on
Black guy?
Yeah.
Is he fine? No, let me stop.
Don't ask me that. Don't. He's on Empire. He's on Empire.
Oh, the one that plays all the bad roles.
Him and his wife are riding down the road.
Terrence
Howard.
Yes.
Riding down the road in an Escalade, and these police officers pull them over, and in the process of investigating or writing them a ticket, they pulled them out. The police officer pretty much, he assaulted his wife. Patted her down, but took liberties as he was patting her down. And he's sitting there watching this police officer who's armed with a service revolver violate his wife. And he felt hopeless and helpless in that predicament.
It's no different than a slave.
And he did nothing. But he's married to a militant wife. She's militant as they come. She was so angry that he did nothing. Now, in his mind, if I'd have did something, they would have shot both of us. But in her mind, but you didn't do anything. You know what I mean? And I kind of felt both of them, but my heart ached for her. I knew it was a movie.
Such a sticky situation.
Heart ached for her. And so what is this? What is the acceptable response when in many instances your life can be on the line?
That's a great question. Anybody want to answer that on tonight? Ladies, please. We would love to. Okay. Walter Jones, you're on here. Why don't you answer? No, he's a guy. Okay, no, seriously, that was a great question. How far? What did you say?
How far should we go in protecting? What if you can't fight?
You the man can't fight?
Yeah,
a lot of men that can't another fight. One. No, I'm just kidding. That's a problem. That's a problem. There, but okay, he may not be able to fight, but there has to be another something else that he can do. Now I wonder if he had like verbally said something, would that have been sufficient for his wife? Like, hey, watch yourself. Talking to the police.
Right. He didn't say nothing.
He didn't say anything. That's very sticky.
Now I'm gonna say this. And I watched the movie, and my mind the wheels were turning. I'm like, okay, so you didn't even go and file a report. You didn't even do any follow-up after that.
Okay.
He could have at least done some follow-up or something.
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. We have maybe somebody's calling in. We have a call on A&D conversation. Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm wonderful. And who are you?
My name is Lisa Madden.
Hey,
cuz.
Hey, cuz.
That's my cuz.
Hey, cuz. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lisa. What do you want to say?
Family too.
That's right.
In answer to your question, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because being a black mother of black men, I'm terrified about them being hurt by the police or whoever else. But I also want to teach them to protect their female, cousins and family members. And I remember a time I was with my son and somebody was being a little disrespectful, and his innate response was to protect me. But then I became the protector too. Like, nope, because I saw where the situation could have gone, and I'm going to jail if somebody put their hands on him, especially someone of the other persuasion with a badge and a gun. I'm going to that place. So it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to deal with. It really is.
It's what you said. It's a double-edged sword, and it's almost like, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Either way, something bad is bound to happen. You know what I mean? Yep. And so it's one of those compromising situations that there is no textbook response to that. You almost got to play it by each situation and each circumstance.
Right. Sure. And I would agree.
People are looking. They're looking for it. They automatically say, well, black men are violent. They're rowdy. So they're automatically looking for them to respond a certain way. But how are you supposed to respond when somebody's hurting someone in your family? It's my God-given, my son's God-given right to protect his family. But the police don't think that's why they're shooting them down in the street, because they don't feel like they have a right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's very difficult. It's a very difficult situation to be in.
For sure.
Thank you for calling in, cuz.
Yes, thanks for calling in. We appreciate you.
And I'm seeing people say the same thing as a catch-22.
Yeah.
Earl said, I know the movie. I left after that scene. It was hard to watch. That was a hard scene to watch.
Now, I don't know. I don't think I saw that movie.
It's called Crash.
Yeah. Okay. I may have to go and look it up because that sounds very deep. And I probably would have a fit about it as well. Let's see. Other comments here on Facebook Live. I think there was a response to Earl's comment from Brandy. She says, we're not asking them to attack. They have at the very least restrained him like they restrained her. To make no move to do anything.
Yeah.
Or even more move sluggishly and slowly was inexcusable. Guaranteed, if it was their mom at that counter, they would have moved. I would agree. We have a call on the line, A&D conversation.
Good evening. This is Teresa Allison. How are you?
Wonderful. How about you? I was waiting on you.
I am doing just great. Thank you. I am calling in to respond to Apostle Dion's statement about the movie Crash. I remember that scene very vividly. And in regards to where the line is, it definitely depends on the two people involved. So the first thing I'll say is you got to know your man, first of all, what he's capable of and what he can handle. But my rule of thumb in those kind of situations, because protection is number one on my list, I need to feel safe with a man that is supposed to be charged with protecting or covering me. I need to feel safe. And so for me, my number one rule is respond with the highest use of force that's going to guarantee that you still come home to me. And so when I say that, if we are walking down the street and some random guy puts his hand on me, knock him out, put him on his back pocket. But we're talking about a situation where I know, this is where knowing your man comes in. I know what you're capable of, and I know what you would do if it wouldn't mean that you didn't come home to me. Then in that case, we're going to both hold our breath. We're going to get through this moment, and then we'll figure out the action on the other end. But nothing is worth, you defending my honor in this moment is not worth the loss of life or the risk or even the thought that I won't have you home with me. So, and I legit mean that. And I remember having a discussion about that scene, and people looked at me like I was crazy. But I also saw my father exercise restraint. I will never forget it. We were at a Bible study, and my father was a pastor before he passed away. We were at a Bible study, and he came in contact with the man that had hurt one of his daughters. And you kind of got to know my father's life and the fact that he was that dude and that he could look at you hard and break your jaw, to know what that did for us as kids. I was a teenager and I watched this man exercise all this restraint when he could have every feeling that he's had for all these years finally coming in contact with the man that had hurt his daughter, and to exercise the level of restraint that he did. And later on, we asked him, like, Dad, why didn't you do anything? I mean, he had some choice words for him, but he told us, I was in front of my kids and I was in front of my members, and I couldn't do anything that would cause me to not be able to get back to y'all. And that forever changed the course of what it means for me to be avenged, protected, and all of that. I want you to protect me with your mind. Be smart enough to know that nothing is more important than you coming home to me. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for calling in and for those comments. We appreciate them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, take care.
And then it's all about, thank you for calling. It's all about what that situation calls for.
True.
You know what I mean? If it's just somebody whistling at your sister or your girlfriend or your wife, you know, that's not a life or death situation. You know what I mean? So it's
not.
You know, it depends on the level of opposition that you're facing to. All those things come into play. And I like what she said. Ultimately, I want you to come home.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, she said it right there. You have to know your mate. So then in that situation that you just described with Crash, that wife should have really known her husband. Like, okay, I know you don't want this man doing this to me, but you're using wisdom right now and not saying anything so that we both can come home.
He said, I was trying to get us home. Pretty much that's what he was saying.
Right. So then she needed to, just like Teresa just said, you have to know your mate. I mean, I'm not, you my man, you my husband. I'm not going to, I don't know. Of course, when you're in a situation, maybe different.
There's got to be a follow-up game, though. You know what I mean? Go file a report. Go do something. Show up. You know what I mean? If get us home, but then what are you going to do after that? Because she has just been violated. And in a situation like that, to do nothing at all, I think further perpetuates, even in the mindset of the female, her value to that
right
man.
In her mind.
You know what I mean?
But then
maybe you couldn't fight fire with fire. You didn't have a gun. But what are you going to do?
Right.
And I think that's a real thing. Get home safe.
Get home safe. Let's see. George says that movement would be monumental. It's a must. Look how comfortable not just homeless people are attacking our queens, but even police are abusing them, even our elderly women. Lisa says they do, but I don't. My name is what my mom named me. Oh, talking about the name calling. Nedra, thanks for watching. We'll see you. David Franklin, Pastor Rhonda Allison is on. Let's see here. More comments. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm recognizing you guys. Yeah, we were saying about slavery. That is a slavery mentality. Eric Teverball, thank you for watching, cousin. No, Michelle, we thought you were, we didn't disconnect you, sweetie. We thought you were done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. We were continuing on. Lisa says his women were raped right in front of their husbands back then. Yes, I think we're going back. So there may be some older comments here, but I'm just making sure I get to it. Protection, financial protection, emotional protection, psychological protection. One is not more important than the other. And I would agree with that. All if that is good, but why is the man angry with women acting as if she's to blame? Okay, help me with that question, Michelle Thomas. Why is the man angry with the woman acting as if she's to blame? Help me, because we were kind of continuing with that conversation, so that may be an older comment. So if that's something that you want us to answer, please clarify for us. George also says here, I'm old school and proud of it. If you're in a parking lot, a store, walking your dog, or a McDonald's, if I see your safety is in danger, I will have you. Thank you, George. I need to be where you are. Appreciate you. Lisa says here, they couldn't protect their wives or themselves for that matter. It was a psychological rape on the man. Yeah. And again, I think that is definitely what we're dealing with. There is even going back to this scenario you talked about in Crash. That was a mental thing he was dealing with.
And you know what? It's so awesome you said that, because that's the point I was trying to get to. That was really about him. It was more about the husband than it was about the wife.
It was,
now,
indeed.
The wife was the one being abused, but the effect that the officer wanted in that scene, he wanted to affect him. He wanted to strip that man of his masculinity, of his just his feeling as a man and as a protector. He was trying to strip him.
Yeah.
You know?
And then it just, continually, of course, real life situations, something people experience like that same situation. Now you're going back, you're at home now, in her mind, she's thinking, oh, you never really had my back, or you never will have my back. That situation may set a precedence in her mind. It sounds
like you watched the movie, because that's how it turned out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. See,
and at first it just damaged their whole entire relationship.
Wow. No, I didn't watch it, but that's what can, occur. You continue on, in that thinking. She's going to keep thinking back. Go back to that emotional. Okay. Anyway, Aisha McBurrows, thanks for watching. Aura, we appreciate you. Oh, let's see here. Let's go on down. Making sure I'm not missing anything. If I were in that period, I'd be shot or hung before age 25. Because to rape my mom, my sister, my wife, and they thinking I'm not making a move. I'm not the one. That's George Hunt. Thank you. Deborah Banks, thanks for watching. All right. There are a couple of, I wanted to pull up something because there were so many things that were said that the articles that I pulled up are definitely in conjunction with. There's a doctor, Melody McLeod, who she's actually written a couple of articles, and one of them, as I was studying for tonight's topic, the name of it is called "The Psyche of Modern Day Young Black Man." She has a part 1 and a part 2 of that. The part 1, it says, "In crisis, not college." Okay, so she started talking about. She basically is saying that the educated Black man is going to have to redirect, as she says here, the wayward ship. So
Gotcha.
we talked earlier about where does it come from? Where does it start? They have to be instructed. They have to be taught. So I think that is what we're going to have to get to. We may not get a resolve in tonight's topic, but I think that's a start in that direction, because we can talk all day long, but then at the end of the day, okay, what can happen to change this? Michelle said earlier, something that bothered her. She said, and I wanted to change. So it's got to start somewhere. We have a call on the line, A&D Conversation.
Hi, I'm not going to say my name because I'm calling in again. But I want to bring up a situation that I had with my son. Now, we're talking about men protecting their Black women, meaning wife or girlfriend, whatever. But I want to bring up a situation that I had with my son a couple of months ago. Now, he's my baby. I've always looked at him as my baby, and I need to protect him. And, I've always felt like I'm his protector. He's the only baby I have left. He's 18 now, but he's still my baby. We were out. And we were out in the car. I'm driving. He's on the passenger side. And I don't know if I inadvertently cut this man off, a white man who I cut off. But he pulls up on the side of us, and he wants to make a point that he's glaring at us. We're ignoring him. I'm ignoring him. But he wants to make a point that he's glaring. Now, he's on my son's side. The man yelled something out, and my son rolled his window down and said, "Well, I'm sorry, what was that?" And the man repeated himself. Now, my son showed strength of character and common sense by saying, "You know what? Okay, whatever, dude." Rolled his window back up and laughed. Now, what the man said to him should have caused him to, I would expect him, what he said to him, I would expect him to want to fight this man. He showed strength of character and common sense by saying, "Okay, dude, whatever," laughing it off, rolling his window up. Now, when this man called us both the N-words and said he would shoot us, that's And his issue was the fact that you're talking to my mom. My mom is in the car with me. When he said that, that's when he jumped out of the car, my moving car. Then the guy jumped out of his car. And when I tell you, he showed that man what he was about, because the man was about talking. He had his girlfriend in the car and he wants to show everybody. When my son got done with him, my little 18-year-old son mopped this guy's head up. When he got done with him, I then knew this is not a baby anymore. This is a grown man. And I said, Tyler, why? You didn't have to. Because I had to jump in front of him. We stopped traffic on a busy highway. I mean, this wasn't over somewhere in the cut. This is stop traffic. I said, Tyler, why didn't you let it slide? Mom, because you were in, I said his name. I'm sorry. Mom, because you were in the car with me. And all I could think of was this man threatening to shoot my mom. I didn't mind him calling me the N-word. I mean, I had a problem with that, but we could have slid with that. But my mom is in the car, and he is threatening to shoot in my car. So I have a problem with that, and I laid him out because I wanted to let him know that I don't play those games. From that day on, I look at my son, like I didn't even realize it that night, but I look at my son so differently now because I know that he is going to protect me. The first thing the man said, he didn't, okay, fine, you want to call me on my name, whatever. But when he threatened my life, that's when he had a problem, and that's when he got out there and mopped the floor with that guy. That's being protected by your man. He showed mental. I don't want you to be mentally thinking us out of every situation. As my protector, at some point, I want to see some physical something. Otherwise, I'm going to start to feel like I'm stronger than you. And I need to handle these situations because you're going to try to think your way out of everything. And as a man, I feel like there should be some physical something somewhere, if that makes sense.
Right.
So anyway, I'm getting off the show. You guys, this show is awesome. I'm so excited for this topic and upcoming topics. And thank you for letting me call in.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So he should at least be willing to show intent. Like I'm willing to, even if you in the name of the woman that he is protecting.
Right.
That's women want to be with a man that they feel protects them. If there's a knock at your door at 2:00 in the morning, if you have a husband or a boyfriend or a grown son, you don't expect for you to have to get up and go see who's at the door.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just little things like that. And so I guess my next question is, what are some things that some women have experienced in their life that made them feel unprotected?
It's a good question. Let me read this statement from Walter, because this may be Walter Lee. Maybe kind of an example of what you're asking now. I watched another video earlier today. A group of young people were at a bus stop. A young black man slapped a young black woman.
I saw that.
She was sitting next to what appeared to be her boyfriend. Other bystanders intervened. The boyfriend had to be coaxed by others to stand up and defend his girlfriend. When he did stand up, he stood there with his hands in his pockets. How could his girlfriend ever feel safe with this guy? She's emotionally damaged. Can you imagine how she feels about black men now? They abuse me and they won't protect me. And guess what? I bet she didn't break up with him. I just threw that in there. That's very interesting.
But he hit the nail
situation.
Right on one side. There's an abuser, and on the other side, there was someone who
wouldn't protect her.
I saw that video.
And they said they had to coax him to even just stand up.
Yeah, they literally.
So
had to
maybe he couldn't
him,
fight. Maybe he's one of those that couldn't fight. Or he was scared, or maybe he's had a situation. I'm not making an excuse for him, y'all, but maybe he's had a situation before. Maybe he was the guy on the other end that got mopped up.
But you know what? Would I take a black eye for my wife? You know what I mean? To keep her from taking a black eye.
Yeah.
It comes down to that. It comes down to that.
So then, policy, we're gonna the instruction. Where's the instruction gonna? I mean, it's gonna have to come from individuals like you. Those our black men that are educated in the sense of, and I'm not saying that you have to have a master's degree. You could be educated in the school of life.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Just understanding and knowing how to handle yourself. But we're gonna have to have some instruction, and in a way that these young people are going to be able to receive it too.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk all day long. You got these young folks out here with the pants sagging and hanging, and they thinking they the stuff. How can we reach them to get them to the point so we won't feel like situations we're in, talking about women, that we're not protected. They have to. If you ladies want to answer Apostle's question, can you ask that again?
In what ways, what experiences have you had or seen, or it doesn't have to be you. Maybe you don't want to show or tell your own business, but in what ways have you felt unprotected by a man? Because our idea of protection, there could be a disconnect. You know what I mean? Your idea of protection and my idea of protection may not overlap, because there are some women who feel like they're not protected if you're, as a man, just not holding it down for them. If you're not, if they feel like they're doing everything by themselves, if they feel like they're out here doing all of the necessary things for life without sufficient help, some women feel unprotected or uncovered,
right,
in that respect. And so, what is your experience, or what, it
some experience you may know of, may not be personal.
Exactly.
But let me share this with you. Again, that was this doctor that I was referring to earlier with that first article. She actually did an article on Super Bowl commercial. A Super Bowl commercial back in 2011. So that was the 45th Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Pepsi had, how they have the commercials during the Super Bowl. Pepsi had a commercial where it showed this black woman and a black guy. I guess he must have been her boyfriend or something. And so throughout this commercial, when it starts off, it's almost as if everything he was doing, she was negating it. Or the first scene was that they were at a restaurant, and he's ordering, and he said, yeah, and I'll have an order of fries, and she kicks him under the table. He said, I'll order fruit with that. And so then they move on, and there are other scenarios where he's about to make a decision about something, and she'll pop up.
I see where you're going.
And and so he'll change, what he's going to do about it. You all can check that out. If I get a chance, I'm going to put the link for that YouTube in there. But what this doctor was saying about this commercial is that she doesn't feel that we as black women were protected with that commercial. The commercial continues on because it's a Pepsi commercial. They're sitting on a bench. Well, he's sitting on a bench in a park, right? So he pops open a Pepsi and he starts drinking. He's like, oh, this is so good. So all of a sudden she pops up, the black lady, the girlfriend, and she's like, you drinking that or whatever. But she was approving of it, right? Mm-hmm. However, there was a Caucasian woman who was running in the park. She was doing her running. And so he's like doing this because he's shaking his head up and down because he's enjoying the Pepsi. And then she comes by and he's eyeing her. He's eyeing the white woman. And she sits down on the bench next to them. And the black woman sees this and she's like, oh, really now? And so then she knocks the Pepsi can out of his hand and he ducks and the Pepsi can hits the girl.
Oh, wow.
And so the two of them get up and run away.
There's a whole lot in that commercial.
It's a lot in that commercial.
That's loaded.
But she's saying that, that the advertisers or those who have the money, like Tyler Perry or somebody, she said they should have said something about that commercial, because the Black woman was being interpreted as being this overbearing, evil, woman. You're always, coming out after the man. You don't stand next to the man, but then you see but then you see the Caucasian woman. She's just, and he's like, oh, that, like in other words, that's a breath of fresh air over there from what I have over here. That's constantly all over me all the time.
Wow.
And I don't know, what do you think about that? Because I kind of agree, in the sense that we were not protected in that sense.
I think it was a misrepresentation.
Yes.
And I think that you have to be very careful of what images you put out there. Of course, that happens in all races where there's a woman or a man, for that matter, that's overbearing and controlling and hovering over their counterpart. But to portray that in a Super Bowl commercial where millions of people are watching.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that a commercial like that is loaded, because just the imagery of this is what you got at home, and then he's pretty much being emasculated.
Yes.
In that commercial, but then he turns to someone who's of a different race, who's not necessarily doing that.
She's not. All she's doing is smiling at him and,
smiling and skinning and grinning.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was very irresponsible. That's an irresponsible commercial.
Yeah, very much
really
so.
Is.
And it pissed her off.
But
she was very upset.
Let me ask this though, since you brought it up.
Okay.
Since you had the audacity to bring it up, is that relevant on any level?
Is what relevant?
Maybe we should not be portraying that in commercials or that imagery, but is the relevance of being treated a certain way or not being treated a certain way within a relationship then causes you to now consider other alternatives. And by other alternatives, I mean other races as opposed to your own.
Okay. Sounds as they treat me, if the Black man treat me wrong, then maybe I can go look outside of my race.
Or if the Black woman was treating me wrong.
Well, I said that because I'm a woman.
So. Well, either way. So now I don't, and let's keep it in the context of this discussion. I don't feel protected by a Black man. So maybe I'll try someone other than a Black man
that will protect me. Or I've heard some Black men say, I will go to other races, or because they're more submissive than the Black women.
Right.
That's
a crazy comment.
That, you know what? But that's how something.
Can I weigh in on that one?
Well, why don't you? You're host. Go ahead.
You're gonna go to another race because, now don't get me wrong, I have no problem with anybody dating outside of their race. Let me make that perfectly clear. Right. But saying that you're gonna go to another race because the women in your race are not submissive enough, it really sounds like to me that you're not man enough.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Don't project your inadequacy.
And don't lump everybody in together.
And don't lump everybody in together. And so I think that that's a poor excuse. Now, if you just want to be free to love outside of your race, then just say that. That's acceptable. I accept that.
Right.
I accept that you're not bound by color lines and all these things, and I accept that. But don't bring up something that's flimsy to downgrade your own race in order to excuse you going and doing,
right.
That to me is irresponsible.
Yeah, it's very irresponsible. You're not being true.
Yeah.
To you, you're not being true to your race. You're not even being true to whoever you getting ready to, be in a relationship with. So I think all of that you definitely have to have to weigh. Go ahead.
Oh, I guess so. And so, but you know what though? We have to begin to ask ourselves why Black women are so strong and strong-willed.
Can I answer that?
Because Black women are some of the strongest species on the planet, you know, and a lot of times we are, you know, some men may be just intimidated by that strength.
But then, I mean, there's so many different responses to that question. Why are Black women so strong? One of the main things is sometimes we've been pushed into that role.
Mhm.
And we talked about that a little bit earlier. You know, for whatever reason, you know, unfortunately, a lot of our African American men, they're in prison. They're out here. They're on drugs. They're not responsible enough for us to allow them to be the head.
And then we push them, and by them I mean Black women. We push them into this corner where they have to fight to get out.
Come on, and you know what? And
You know?
that's where our strength comes from. You
And-
put somebody in a situation long enough, and so many times.
But then what we'll do, or society will do, is now label that woman as being overbearing,
yes,
being controlling, too loud, you talk too much.
there you go.
You know what I mean?
Just like I was just
when
doing.
they have been put in that position to fight for everything they got, fight for their household, fight for their children, fight for themselves.
Because guess what?
You know?
At the end of
And
the day,
then we say you got too much fight in you.
because at the end of the day, she is not going to let her children suffer.
Yeah.
A real mother.
Yeah.
Is not going to. So if he is not stepping up to the plate to do whatever he's supposed to do to take care of that house, she's going to go out and get 4-5 jobs to take care of her children.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm talking about back in the day. Some of these young folks, they don't care, but that was mentality. I gotta work because I don't want my family to suffer. He's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. So we've been pushed into that. We have been pushed, divorcees or what have you. My own mother was, you know, she was divorced, I think, by the time from my dad, and I'm the youngest. By the time I was 5, I had the 4 children.
Mm-hmm.
She took care of us, and I'm telling you, when I tell you that woman ruled her house, you know, after she was, you didn't play with Mary. You did not play with her.
A wise woman built a house.
You know, I often times in my show, you know, she knew what was in her house.
Mm-hmm.
If I came in with a ball from outside, where you get that from? Carry it out. Mm-hmm. Take it back where you got it from. Because she knows she didn't buy it. And she wasn't having that.
Get all that outside on it.
Yeah, she ruled it. She ruled it. And we have to I have to appreciate my mom. She was a very strong woman. Very strong woman. Comments here, they are not men in a period. Black women would have had to stand up for themselves, be strong and take care of themselves. So we're not bossy. We're filling a space that's empty right now. Thank you, Lisa. I agree. Let's see here. Anything else? Frank Blunt. Well, this is what they see in our community. It's declassifying the power of the Afro-American man as the leader. America fears that type of authority. So the only way to destroy that African-American structure is to keep Black men aborted, jobless, incarcerated.
Mouthful.
And that's a whole nother show.
It is.
Because and I agree with that. Mm-hmm. There is, and I'm gonna say this too. Because of that, and because I know that there is a conspiracy, if you will.
It's like an undercurrent.
To destroy you as a Black man. I'm just pointing you because you're representing the Black man. It's there. I mean, it's not the big white elephant in the room or whatever you want to call it. So we have to understand that. And so in my mind, what I try to do on a regular is build my brother up.
Oh, I'm so glad you say that because here's what just popped up in my spirit as you read that comment and as you were talking. This movement and I don't want to say it's millennial because it started before that. It really did. This whole movement of I don't need a man. I don't need no man. I don't need no man. I don't need no. I ain't gotta have no man. I don't need no man.
Ain't me. Ain't ever been my cry.
But you know what? It has been pushed. Can I say something?
Say it.
It's really, it started as a feminist movement.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
That went to an extreme that really began to devalue the presence of a man. And so my point is, you cannot devalue the presence of a man, say that you don't need him, but then also in the same breath say, why ain't you protecting me?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's
your cake and eat it too.
You can't have your cake and eat things that a man can do that a woman cannot do.
Come on now.
It doesn't mean that you are less, but you are not a man just as much as a man is not a woman.
Yes.
And we have to begin to value each other, one another, for who we are in relationship and what we bring to that particular relationship. There ought to be some things that I bring to a relationship that my counterpart, that my wife cannot do, and vice versa. And we ought to appreciate those things. I think we're in a society now that wants to gray out. There's a lot of gray area
on both sides,
and we want to overlap everything and say, okay, there are no gender roles in my house. I've seen shown there are no gender roles in my house. What?
Yeah.
Had
to be careful of that.
You got to be careful, because when it comes time for him to protect you, there's no gender roles.
Well, you go out there and protect this house, then, woman. That's probably what he gonna say.
There are certain things that I do, and I've always done, even before I was married, but definitely since I've been married. So my wife don't take out the trash.
Come on now.
She don't anything heavy in the house, I move.
Y'all
anything heavy. We came up to the show today, and Annette needed something moved out of the trunk of her car. She called the apostle.
Yes, I did.
And guess what the apostle did?
He went down
there and got it. And so there's certain.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. You don't even have to say thank you for that. That's just it ought to go without saying.
Right.
There's certain things that if there's a man around, a woman should never have to do.
Yes.
And can I dare to say that that's vice versa?
Yes.
It really is. Now some people may be mad at me for saying that.
Uh-oh.
But I believe that there are certain things that if there's a woman in the house, a man shouldn't have to do. Now, we ain't gonna get into all that, what that is.
Right. Right.
That's a whole nother show.
Right.
But there are certain things, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna protect. My wife don't even pump gas.
I love it.
If she's driving her car and I'm in the car behind her.
Right. There you go.
We go to a gas station. I get out of my car and pump her gas.
Lisa said, hello. Yes, I agree.
And so it's little things like that, okay, this is me showing her honor, support, value, and I think it ought to go both ways.
It definitely does. Because when you do all that for me, Hey, now come on. It's on now. It's on. And when I see, like even my honey, I'm telling you, sometimes he'll do some of the simplest things for me that I sit back and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You're a keeper.
Here's what we not saying. Let me clarify this. I'm not saying that a man shouldn't clean and nothing like that.
No.
Men, there's certain adult things that we should just do because we're adults. You know what I mean?
Right. And
so I clean and all that, but there ought to be some things,
definitely
that you do for one another.
Definitely. I agree. Oh my goodness. We are at the end of another
What a
show on today. This has been tremendous. I have enjoyed myself tremendously. And I know that there are so many other things we probably want to say, couldn't say it, or didn't get a chance to say it. Should I, if I can say it like that. I want to appreciate each and every one of you for joining and calling, your comments, your questions, for not letting us converse with ourselves on this evening. So we just appreciate you on YouTube and on Facebook Live. We will probably have to do something as a follow-up to this. To this topic, because it is too hot, and I think we need to get more resolve. That's just my feeling. you know, because
I agree.
it's out here, it's prevalent. Yeah, we talk about it, like I say, talk about it all day long, but there's got to be something. There's got to be something we can do about it. You know, if we don't do anything but reach and get our young ones and try and help
And
them,
teach 'em.
you know, because they always say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. How about we go get the young ones and
Yeah.
try and, you know, teach
Yeah.
them, instruct them. Apostle, I enjoyed you.
I enjoyed you too, Annette, as always.
All right. So I don't know if anybody answered the question or not, trying to see who between the two of us selected this topic on tonight.
Somebody did.
Somebody did.
In the comments. They put it in the comments.
They
You
did.
didn't see it?
What'd they say?
They said, I bet Apostle Dion came up with this.
Yeah.
Topic. That's what they said.
You want to take on this?
You know what? I saw it and I thought it would be a good topic.
It was him. It was him, but it was a great topic. Great topic. Yeah, Michelle, these are some dope looking mugs we have here.
Yeah.
And we want to appreciate Michelle again for coming in. Was it last week, right?
Yes.
To give us our wonderful mugs with our show portrait on there. So thank you so much. We appreciate you. Love you guys. Make sure you come back next week for more Mind, Body, and Soul Andy conversation, because we have some great things that are happening this year. Great conversations, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, and God is doing great things. So we are getting here tonight. You all be safe. You're home or wherever you are. And Happy New Year again, guys. Happy New Year. Enjoy this year. Make it count. Until next time, you listen to Mind, Body, and Soul and A&D Conversation.
And deep down in your soul, tune in for the ride. It's mind, body, and soul. An Andy Conversation. An Andy Conversation.